Hello bead hoarders, how are you? I just wanted to show you some of the stuff I've been working on and to give a little information about some classes. In I think the New York area, you'll have to email the instructor and find out more information. I'll put links below. Okay, I'm still working on raised embroidery. I love it. Raised bead embroidery. I made myself a cell phone cover. It was very easy. See? My phone fits in there perfectly. And all I did was trace my phone around some cardstock, both sides, cut out my pattern, and trace my pattern onto my interfacing and beaded it and lined it with some felt that I have a mountain of. Put it together and it worked out really well. I'll probably make another one of these for my daughter. And that purse, remember that purse? Remember this? I finished it. Came out okay. It was a little too big. I might have to peel this off. See if I can. I don't know. Well, I might just leave it, but I think it'll come off because I just used a like a rubber cement, you know, to keep it on temporarily. See if I liked it. It's just too big for this little bag, so I'll probably switch it up. Save this for something else. And this. This out of the way. This I made using the really high foam. Well, that's not it. This is 2 layers, but I have that foam that's really, you know, really thick. And put this little pattern together by tracing, which shape was it? This one right here. Traced it on some paper and then arrange them in a pattern that I like, the little petals. I was kind of looking for a, I don't know, like a water lily, lotus kind of thing. Something simple, because I'm still not, you know, real good at this. And yeah, added some fringe. But here's my pattern pieces, and I numbered them so I knew where I was and what I was doing. And this worked out a lot better than I expected it would. Worked out real nice. I liked it, but this is going to go on an old bag. This old bag. It's a bright yellow, and I just love it. But it's going to go on the pockets right here for the summer. So that's what I've been working on. What else did I want to show you? I don't remember. Someone emailed me about raised bead embroidery, that they're self-taught too, that they were learning this by themselves. Hello, Ronnie. And so after I got this email, I decided there was some history I wanted to look up. And I found, I don't know how long this site has been around, but I encourage you to check it out. Tuscarora beadwork, and I'll have the link below to it. And there's an instructor there. Her name is Rosemary Hill, and last year she did a lot of classes, a lot of them in New York, a couple in California, one in Arizona. She travels a lot apparently to teach this, and there's some interesting history, which reminded me of some other history. History is interesting because it just seems to repeat itself. When the Iroquois ladies were making these raised embroidery pieces and selling them to tourists in the Niagara Falls area years ago, 100 years ago or more or so, there's an article on this Tuscarora website you need to read. I might even post part of the text in this video below, that the government basically outlawed these ladies from their trade. And it's a mystery. I don't know if they were imposing control because they could. I cannot find anything that explains the rationale. There really isn't any. But this sort of thing has been going on for a long, long time. And it didn't just affect the Iroquois Nation. And please forgive me, I cannot pronounce the other tribe. I cannot. It starts with an H. But after the Civil War, the same sort of thing happened to freed slaves. Freed slaves in the U.S. There was a great migration after the Civil War, and freed blacks would migrate to the northern parts of the country and settle there. And I'm not sure if it was New Jersey or where. Shame on me. I should have researched it better, but somewhere in one of the northern states, there was a railroad, and this was before railroad cars. Railroads decided to offer food service and restaurants and dining cars. There was nothing like that on the train, so people traveling from the south to the north or across the plains would bring their own food or try to find something to eat during a stop at a depot. Well, some of these, there was the black ladies, freed slave ladies, and their descendants figured out that they could sell homemade food to travelers, to train travelers. And they did really well at this. They were real good at it. They made fried chicken. There's a wonderful book about it. It's called Houses Out of Chicken Legs, or Houses Built Out of Chicken Legs. And it's a story about these women, and they were called waiter carriers, and they would cook in their own kitchens and make these delicious meals and sell them to the travelers on the trains, who were more than willing to pay for these, pay for the food, so they wouldn't starve, or they didn't have to get off the train and get lost and figure out where they could go eat. It was a wonderful trade until the government, again, decided to step in and start imposing lots of regulations on these women that they just did not understand. They had to wrap chicken in a certain way. They had to contain food in a certain way. They had to market a certain way. None of these things were ever a problem. No one ever died. No one ever got sick. Travelers did not complain. It was just the government seeing some success in a population and deciding to put some controls on it, and I don't know why that is. Finally, the practice was pretty much just wiped out through taxation, and people had to find something else to do. But I'm not a big fan of government. There's no secret about that. But you need to be careful. You need to look at this sort of thing as it's going on around you. Government interferes. It always interferes. It doesn't do anything good. It interferes. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. But I think the history is interesting, and I think it's equally interesting that people just overlook it. They just totally overlook it. The article on the Tuscarora website was worded in such an interesting way that I about fell off my chair. I wanted to get into a rant about it, but I'm really trying to hold that back right now because I don't think people will understand it. But when you start, when you see ideas being twisted, when rights start being talked about as privileges, and this happened in the Niagara Falls area, the right to trade by these beaders was turned into a privilege, and the privilege was turned into a permit system. So, government picks winners and losers. Almost everybody's a loser. There's a couple winners, which breeds hatred, jealousy, envy. Nothing good ever comes from it. I want to thank the authors of this website, Tuscarora Beadwork, for their outstanding work on that site and fascinating articles and images. It's beautiful. And I'll tell you what, if I had the time or the money, I would take every single one of those courses. I just loved it. Rosemary Hill is a genius, and it's just beautiful. And I love this. I'm never giving up on it. Hate me if you want, but I'm not going away. And that's it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, I was going to do a short video on knotting, the kind of knots I use in my beadwork. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in or not. I don't know. Let me know, and I'll do one. So, I'll be back next week with something. I have no time to come up with any cute tutorials, so I thought I'd try to dig up some history and thinking that might be interesting, and it is interesting. Don't take it for granted. Don't take your rights for granted. Don't take your ability for granted. Don't take your life for granted. Don't let the government tell you what your life is worth, what you're able to do, that your survival is a privilege and not a right. And that's it. I am going to get off my soapbox and do more beading. I have stuff to do, laundry, dishes, and some beading, and I love you, Sammy. See this movie? Well, you won't see this part yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Bye.